川友宴内测的时候，我有一些好的哥们儿和同学在玩，通过他们在玩这个游戏，然后我才开始知道这个游戏，然后我才跟他们一起玩的。
I think it changed my life because when you win in every tournament of CROSSFIRE, you have money. So I think it changed my life. CROSSFIRE changed my life.
Saya merasa mungkin lebih banyak teman di permainan ini. Saya lebih merasakan bekerja bersama-sama dengan teman juga. Bagaimana menjadi tim yang lebih baik.
信任嘛，这款游戏是一款团队游戏，然后我们5个人在团队里面扮演着各种角色嘛。这个团队一起去参加比赛，必须要5个人相互信任。 然后这样的话，才能就是说比赛才可以胜利。包括现实里面5个人生活在一起，有很多细节啊，要互相包容队友啊，或者说他们来包容我的一些不好的一点。所以说，我觉得这个游戏，让我学会了特别多的东西。我在川友宴里面打了这么多年吧，然后从一个小孩儿。 打到现在也26、27岁了嘛，我衷心的希望这款游戏越来越好，我们大家越来越好。
Mungkin di tahun-tahun berikutnya turnamen seperti CFS ini lebih diperbanyak mungkin karena di Indonesia sendiri turnamen sebesar ini hanya 1 tahun 1 kali seperti itu. Mungkin bisa ditambahkan.
I think for me, CROSSFIRE is thank you CROSSFIRE, because CROSSFIRE changed my life.
Hello and welcome back. It's CFS 2018 day number 1. We've kicked off group stages. We've had a bit of a change on the desk as well. We've got Kyle and Blue. Gents, welcome ball. Kyle, firstly, You've had a chance to watch all the games so far today. Any surprises for you?
I'd say so far the biggest surprise for me was Execration taking that win over Ava Team so
Yeah.
overwhelmingly. So 10-5, very impressive score from them. The other games were, I'd say, pretty much on par with what I was expecting, but definitely a big win for Execration earlier on.
Blue, you've come in overnight. You've only just got here, had a chance to embrace the CROSSFIRE fun. You've enjoying yourself so far today.
Yeah, I think we so far have had like a really good string of matches, especially these last 3 or 4 games have been incredibly close, really back and forth as well. We haven't really had like massive strings of one-sided affairs. So I'm really excited to continue this, as I think we're in for a lot more of that as we get into these next matches, and especially some of the winners matches I think are going to be really exciting now that we set them up.
Exactly. 2 winners matches at the end of the day. 2 more to kick things off tomorrow. But for now, it's all gamers up against Black Drag. Now, for me, this is a very interesting game. Black Dragon, we've seen in the past, we know they're that strat-heavy team. We expect them to do well. For me, all gamers, I put them in as one of my teams to watch for this event. What are your thoughts heading into this matchup, Kyle?
So looking at these two teams, normally I would give all gamers the edge against almost anyone, but when I reflect on the Summer Invitational, Black Dragons only beat Chinese teams. They took down all gamers and Q9 as the only teams they were able to beat there. So when it comes to upsetting the Chinese in best of ones, Black Dragons is one of those teams that is really well equipped to make that happen. So I definitely think they may actually have an advantage here.
That's funny because we were actually talking about that a little bit earlier on the desk, a little bit of rock, paper, scissors, where some teams are better up against a particular team or the Chinese teams in general. That's a pretty good start for them to, you know, if they can go up against all gamers to kick things off, beat them in their game and then win their upper bracket, maybe it's a good start. This Black Dragons won.
And I think the other thing that helps their chances as well is when you look at the fact that it's a best of one. It's not only that, it's a best of one with a predetermined map. So there's plenty of opportunities for them to prepare for this specific matchup because they already know the conditions they're going to be playing on. And I think that further increases their chances. Still a very tough opponent though, with all gamers being the roster that they are coming into this one is kind of like the second best Chinese team and possibly the second best team in the event as a result of that.
That's the reality we're living with here, where you could be one of, number 2, number 3 of the Chinese teams, but you're still number 2 or number 3 in the world. What's this lineup looking like, Kyle, for all gamers heading in to CFS 2018?
So for all gamers, I'd say really the player I look to on their lineup is ZQ. He's usually one of their stronger anchor players. And overall, I think this lineup has a lot of firepower behind them. And to shut them down, I think it's really going to come down to the defensive half over the Black Dragons. That's where I've seen in the past they sort of have some issues how they position themselves and get a little bit too eager on how they peak out early on. So I think patience is key if you want to take down a team like All Gamers. You can't be too overconfident because when it comes to aim duels, this is really a top caliber team.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? When you talk about a lot of these teams, you're talking about strengths, you're talking about individual skill. Sometimes it just comes down to aim and just getting that first shot. And I think in CROSSFIRE we see that a lot. Even that 1v5 we had in the last game, that was just pure skill. A little bit of luck, but pure skill. Let's talk about that. Now, for this lineup, obviously they do know that they're going up against Black Dragon. And whilst we come in and we say, look, Black Dragon, they're the Chinese beaters. They're the team who strategizes the most, and they know the map they're coming in on. If you're all gamers, you know all of that as well, though, right? You know what you're going up against.
Yeah, I mean, these are two teams that know each other quite well, and they've gone back and forth in the past and most recent history. I mean, even though All Gamers did fall to them in best of ones, overall in the events they played in, All Gamers was overall the better team. But when I look at individuals, there's just a lot of strong presence on this Black Dragons roster. But when it comes to facing off against AG specifically, I definitely think Danimal's the one I look out for.
What about you, Blue? Have you got a player on this team on Black Dragons that you're looking out for?
Not necessarily a single player. Just looking at the Black Dragons roster overall, the biggest hindrance to them is the fact that they're just younger players overall. They've been in the scene for a lot less time. Not only that, but they come from a region which obviously doesn't see nearly as much play as the Chinese region. So the Chinese teams are still going to, at the end of the day, end up getting, I think, a lot more practice at very top-tier levels compared to them. And that's the biggest disadvantage that they'll have to go up against in these types of global matchups when you come to a World Finals like this.
For me, it's going to be an interesting match for sure. And I definitely feel like this one going to be another one of those exciting matches that goes very much the distance. Are you putting Black Dragon as the team to beat in this matchup, Cole?
I definitely think they are the team to beat here just because when I look at the map being Mexico, this is one of Black Dragon's strongest maps. They thrive on that close quarters battle, and if you're up against a high caliber aim team like AG, you want to challenge them in close quarters. You don't want to rely on those long distance fights. So I think Mexico's the perfect map for Black Dragons to get in there and really establish some dominance against AG.
What do you do if you're all gamers then? If you're going up against Black Dragons, you know that they're going to be comfortable on this map, but still surely you feel like you're the better team. How do you take them down? Is it just those aim duels? Do you have a strat? Do you change up the way that you played in the past so that they can't strategize against it? How do you see them coming into this?
So I think for AG to really come out on top, they have to have a lot of utility control in mid. That seems to be sort of the downfall for Black Dragons when they have lost this map in the past, just not being able to control mid. And if AG can come out aggressive, use that early utility to get that map control, I think Black Dragons may still have a hard time. And Mexico is really sort of a hit and miss map in terms of their ability to defend. So I think if AG comes out aggressive right from the start, it could be a little bit troublesome for Black Dragons to respond to.
Yeah, if they can get the right start, and we were talking a little bit earlier about whether you prefer to start off attacking or to start off defending on this map. Which is the preferred side, and which do you think that they would prefer to start on?
So when it comes to preferred side, I'd say the global risk side, defending the map is a lot more comfortable for these teams just because the choke points are very narrow on this map. So you have to be really vigilant about how you are attacking them, and it can be pretty stressful for some teams if they have trouble breaking through those choke points early on, and the rounds could just snowball against them in that circumstance. So it's definitely harder to start on that blacklist side, but still, it's all about getting rounds on the defensive half. If you still have a poor showing, even if you win just barely on that half, it's really not good enough. It's really a half where you have to have a dominating half on that defense to really come out on top here.
The good news about it, though, is since obviously we're looking at the guys of Black Dragons being a little bit less experienced, but at the same time being confident against these Chinese teams, when they do get onto that defensive side, if they're able to improve their team play a little bit here, I think overall, because of the smaller choke points, they're going to be a lot better at forcing fights that hopefully they're going to have a better chance of winning to give them some decent advantages in these round stops to start pushing ahead. Hopefully earlier on if they end up starting on that side, of course.
That's it, right? We'll see how their start gets them going. And again, in that last game, we saw a slow start ended up snowballing in the opposite direction. Unfortunately, for Boss, it wasn't enough in the end, but maybe they left it a little bit too late. Maybe they didn't. We'll see how they come back in the lower bracket final. Blue, what is your prediction for this game? Who do you think is going to come out on top, and do you have a score for us?
Personally, I'm coming to this one as the new guy, of course. So
Yeah,
I'm just looking,
so I'm going to you first.
Yeah, I'm just trying to look at what we've seen in very recent history for these teams. And for me, I'll throw it out there a little bit. I think that the record of them being able to consistently beat Chinese teams is going to shine out here, especially considering it's a best of one. So I'm going to go with the Brazilians. I'm going to go with Black Dragons, and I think that they'll take it. Not going to feel confident enough to pick a specific score there. I'll hold back on that for a few games.
All right, well, we'll ease you in. We'll see how you go. Kyle, I'm not going to be easy on you, however. It sounds to me like you're certainly favoring Black Dragons as well. Is that the case?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's still going to be a close game. I don't want to sell anything short that AG brings to the table because they are still a very, very strong team here. But at the end of the day, I think Black Dragons, they've played them enough to know how to get the job done here. So I'd say it's going to be very close, something like a 10-8 scoreline we're going to see. But at the end of the day, I think Black Dragons just has what it takes to get out.
We can see them here just sort of in the circle, one last sort of hurrah before we get into the game. And for me, look, you've almost convinced me that Black Dragons is in this particular matchup, but I can't go past the fact that coming into this event, I said All Gamers was the team to watch out for. And look, it would be silly for me to drop that before we've even seen the first game. So I think even though we put Black Dragons out there as the Chinese beaters, the Chinese teams are just so strong. We see it every single year. They're so very impressive. And look, if All Gamers doesn't at least come out as a group, I'm going to be exceptionally surprised this week for sure. So what about the other games that we've seen so far today, Kyle? Was there anyone, obviously you said there was a surprise there with Execration up against Ava Team. Maybe that was a little bit disappointing for Ava Team. What about, I guess we didn't see that much from Jacosav. Like, there's only so much you can take away from a 10-0. What about Flipside and Kawaii?
Honestly, going into that game, I did expect Flipside to win. However, I did like how much pressure they were able to put on in that second half because at one point, Kawaii did look like the team that was going to win, but I think they strung almost 5 rounds in a row together to actually ultimately pull that back into their favor. So Flipside really showed a lot of resilience in that match, and I think moving forward, they could be a big threat in that group.
Yeah, that's the key point here, though, right, Blue? This is Group C is theoretically this group of death, right?
Yeah, very much the case. Going back to the point about Kawaii, there was still a very impressive start for them in that matchup. It's oftentimes problems with teams in a lot of games where you see, though, where they reach kind of a middle point in the match where they start losing even just 1 or 2 rounds, and teams often struggle. I don't necessarily want to say like tilt, but they kind of get thrown off their game, even to a slight amount, and really struggle to bring it back there. And that's what seemed to happen to the Colombian team there. So we're going to have to hope that they can kind of clean it up for future matches, but still a really strong start out of that matchup certainly leaves hope for future matches for them to be able to bounce back.
I guess the other thing there as well, when you're talking about Group A, you know, you automatically win your lower bracket game and you move through to the lower bracket final as well. So there's still opportunity there. Whoever, you know, how that head-to-head goes with Flipside in Q9, what that looks like when the loser of that has to drop down again. Oh, so loud, so loud. Look, they are so hyped. I don't think they're prepared to lose today.
This is like a Brazilian esports trademark. If you look at teams, they always have that big huddle. There's always a massive moment of cheers, almost to like intimidate your opponents. And you see that like from almost every single Brazilian team in every single game. It's really cool, actually.
And the benefit here, of course, we're not in booth like we were in the finals last year, Kyle. So pretty loud across the stage.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Black Dragons, they're a team that if they're feeling that momentum, they're going to get in their faces. They're going to shout at them. They just love bringing their energy and presence to the table. And I think that could be a bit intimidating if they get the momentum on their side from the start for AG.
Do you think that we're going to see these two teams being the two teams that make it through this group?
It's very likely, but I don't want to count out anyone in the rest of the group. But these are definitely the two strongest teams, I think. If you just look at their stats on paper, these guys are both very presences in the group. However, I think whoever wins this should be a lot safer in how they feel because, I mean, that next match, I think, is going to be a little bit whoever has that momentum behind them. But no one ever feels comfortable fighting out from that lower bracket.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is Group C. All Gamers up against Black Dragons. We'll see who comes out on top. They're very loud, very excited, as are we. Let's get into it.
Not even going to let you finish your point there. So we will be jumping directly into our first matchup on the cast. It's my first CROSSFIRE cast ever, so I'm very excited to be jumping into it. I imagine you're going to be excited as well as it's your first of the event. Let's get right into it, though, as once again, we're going to be heading into Mexico as the battlefield for this map.
Starting it off already, you can see a lot of utility control coming out for those mid positions, and that's exactly what AG needs to do here to get things started. Isolate any early entry into that mid area for control. Black Dragons, they're going to have to take their time now here and plan some sort of counterattack to take control of mid, and this is really one of the big points you'll see contested earlier on. Both teams are trying to feel out if the other team is going to go for that early mid control, and right now AG seems to have a hold of it.
Not even really moving out too much to challenge Black Dragons at this point as they continue to hold those consistent positions. Black Dragons just looking for any type of mistake from the Chinese roster, but nothing showing up here. So eventually they will be forced to make a move, but they're okay to hang out here for a little bit, set up a little bit of an execute. As you can see, the smoke's moving in now, giving them the opportunity to hopefully push forward. So obviously time is going to start to push them forward once we get lower and lower into the round here.
Now they're going to get smoked out again. Black Dragons getting stalled by the smokes here of AG, and this is really a bit troublesome for them. They're going to have to push through it at a bit of a disadvantage here, but they seem ready and eager to fight. AG, though, finds 3 kills already across the board to shut things down. A little bit of bounce back there from Vienna, taking down TMQ, but it's still a 3-on-2, and HP does not look good for Black Dragons here.
Black Dragons getting melted down by that. The HP advantage surely going by the way of all gamers now. Not only that, but we've just gone below 1 minute. Time is going to start to grow incredibly low here, so Black Dragons need to make a move soon. The other issue, their 2 remaining players incredibly split up amongst the map here. They don't have a good way to group themselves up. One of them has already fallen down. We're down to only 1 remaining player for the Black Dragons roster. He's locked into a 1v3, and even worse off, his HP is incredibly low, down to just 23. He's going to have to try and find a way to work this back, but it won't be looking good. He has, however, successfully snuck his way forward, but it'll be immediately caught out and noticed. So it is all gamers that claim round number 1.
That's the perfect way to get things started here for AG. They utilized all of their smokes to create a huge blockade in that mid control coming out from Black Dragons, and Black Dragons, they pushed through the smoke, but they were met with a huge wall to answer back from AG. They're playing 4 players on the backside of mid to make sure Black Dragons can't get in, so they either have to stall the clock a bit longer or rethink their utility usage if they want to try and grab control of it here.
Immediate denial coming in at pretty much the exact same spot we saw in the last round here, as all gamers are looking to try and stop Black Dragons before they can accomplish anything whatsoever. They did move 1 player, Black Dragons, this says, over towards the alley, but that's more as flank watch just to make sure AG don't attempt to try anything. And they certainly aren't. Just an even split for them, primarily playing onto the A site, waiting for a push to come from that direction with a little bit more presence shifting towards mid. Watch out for a B play.
Right now, Black Dragons seems here to take control of mid, but again, we see AG playing it pretty safe, just utilizing that smoke screen, but they actually don't have anyone contesting it this time around. They backed off even more, and they're going to be playing passive on the backside of these sites. Unfortunately, though, ADRF pushes through, grabs the double kill. Vienna finds another one, and it's already down to a 2v4. ZQ finally answers back, but it doesn't look like it's going to be enough. ZY and ZQ left in a very tough 2v4 situation now.
A quick movement here coming out from the Black Dragons roster as well as they quickly move over towards the B site. There is going to be a spot, though, as we see 2 more kills picked up by AG before it's brought down to their last player, ZQ, and he brings it down to a 1v1 now. He'll back away, wanting to play this away a little bit, and also give his opponent a chance to maybe make a mistake here that he could try and catch. Over towards mid to try and play this out. He'll actually fall back over towards the A side. It's a great read as well. He's going to walk right into it, but he gets behind cover a little bit too soon. Good damage connected. It'll even it out and back up on top of the box. He'll finish it off, and we'll see AG pick up a second round consecutively.
That is a big 2v4 from AG. Black Dragons, not a situation where they should have let those trades go against them. And now AG, you can tell the momentum is on their side here. Vienna already wanting to contest, grabs the headshot very quickly, and he's still pushing through. Can he get the double kill? Not going to happen, though. TF with the quick shutdown, and it's an early 4v4. But just as I say that, it's going to be a quick reaction in mid. Danimal trades out onto ZY, but LXM there for the trade right back. 3v2 now. AG still in a favorable position here.
LXM's trades, though, we do see another one picked up by him. He's able to move in and take down ADRF. Finally, LXM is knocked out just seconds later, though. And once more, we're down to only 1 player remaining from Black Dragons. It won't stay that way for long as AG continue to mop up on the defensive side, picking up a 3rd round now.
They become an issue for Black Dragons. They're struggling to get past mid and execute onto these bomb sites. And if they continue forward with this same pattern, AG could just walk away with a huge win on this half. And TMQ already finds the opening pick there, taking down Vienna outside of water. And right now, AG again find themselves in this favorable position on control of this defense.
Not only was the damage found via a kill inside of water, but good nade placements done really good damage to these guys as well, knocking out about 20% of their HP in some cases here. So we are going to continue to look and see if Black Dragons can adjust. It looks like they tried to go a little bit more towards mid again, but as you were mentioning, there's still been a lot of problems for Black Dragon just controlling the mid area, let alone connecting some of this pressure onto one of the sites. Black Dragons really need to try and clean up their pushes, as at the moment, AG are shutting it down almost every single round before they even get close.
Right now we see another attempt to execute out into mid, but again the smokes block them, and this has been their downfall. ZY already gets the double kill, and they can't find their way through the smoke screen. It's already a 2v5 situation, and Will goes down as well to ZQ through the smoke. Danimal left alone in the bottom of the alleyway, and he'll be taken down by TMQ, and AG continue to steamroll their way forward, and Black Dragons, they still have no answers just yet.
It's the same play out every single round here so far for the Black Dragons. They attempt to posture up for control of either mid or water, get stopped via smokes and nades from AG, and then they attempt to force and execute when time starts to get low, and unfortunately just aren't able to find any entries for themselves as AG shut them down almost every single round here.
Sneak out here into mid, but he's going to get caught already. LXM taking him out, and again we see the early picks going in favor of AG. Black Dragons slowly but surely slipping away here, and they cannot find this way into mid, and if they can't find it soon, this could be their downfall.
Continue to see Black Dragons try to push their efforts a little bit more closer towards mid here, but LXM has the hold from the other side in the event they try to push forward into this area of the map once again. Similarly to previous rounds, Black Dragons seem afraid to take that fight. They're forced into it. ZY tries to hold, but he's going to fall early on. LXM is able to move in, gets himself a quick double kill. ZQ jumping into that as well, and TF will pick up the last frag as once more AG shut it down at mid.
This is where things start to look a bit scary if you're in the shoes of Black Dragons right now. 0-5, not the scoreline you want to be hoping for already, but AG, they've had full control over the defensive half of this map, just making sure that Black Dragons has no successful trades in mid. Every situation in mid, AG is coming out on top of, and if you're Black Dragons, you need to find that way to execute properly through this smoke screen. Maybe it may mean they take it all through alleyway to A or all through water to B, but right now their mid executions are just not working here against AG.
So, once again, Black Dragons are forced to make a push. The first kill's found, second kill, ZY and LXM both taken out. And now a third picked up by the same player. Notson doing great work for Black Dragons right now. He's even going to look for more, but before they do that, they'll finally open up an opportunity for a plant, which I believe will be really their first one in this entire game.
Where they need to be careful. AG, a team that knows how to win these numbers down situations. TMQ already finding the pick on the retake. Will goes down. It's going to be ZQ and TMQ, though, still a 2v4. Not one they should be able to win here. Black Dragons really need to lock this down, though.
On an AG looking for any opportunities they might be able to use to get back into the B site, but options are not going to be looking good. You can see smoke presence has been established by Black Dragons, but another kill picked up by TMQ again. Granted, loses a lot of his HP in the process, and Black Dragons are still standing strong in their own regard. There's just no way, really, for these guys to find a quick way to sneak back into the site from mid-B, and as a result, we will see Black Dragons finally close out on a round after 5 consecutive opening rounds from AG.
And right now, this is really where they need to build the momentum. And really on the Blacklist side of Mexico, it's really only 3 or 4 rounds that you need to have a strong presence going into that second half. So that if they can even find 3 rounds here in the half, we still saw in the past where Flipside, they had a 3-6 half and they still brought it back in their match. And it's very well something that could happen here. But Black Dragons 1 is definitely not enough. And we'll see if Notson can do it again for their mid control.
Black Dragons will open it up, as you mentioned, with mid control. A little bit of play towards the alley as well, but they've already evacuated that area and instead are going to go back to normally pushing in towards mid as we've seen before. One player will start to lurk around as well. It's going to be Danimal, taking a route to the right through spawn quarter to see if he can find himself an additional access to AG's defenders at this point. But still, it's going to be a little bit passive at the start, as we've seen before, but it looks like BD might be ready to move in over these next couple of seconds with their own smoke starting to move forward.
Here it comes. They're going to go for the full play into mid. ZY finds the opener this time around. They'll make it a double kill, looking for the triple, but LXM comes in for the assist to shut things down, and Black Dragons once again fall to the fire here in mid, and it's just going to be a complete slaughter. No players go down for AG, and it's another round on the board.
So many flawless rounds coming out from AG here. Their mid hold is certainly something to be desired. Black Dragons really, really struggling to get past this, except the 1 or 2 times they've been able to successfully breach this defense.
Here we see the early utility coming out from both teams on the corner of mid. Both teams want that control, but AG, time after time, they're able to win it. And right now, Black Dragons, they're going to rethink this one, finally going out of mid and going for that A alleyway control instead. I like this change, and it could be enough to catch AG off guard. They have all of that attention towards mid, and Black Dragons, they're going to try and pull a sneaky play here up into the A alleyway.
It's really just going to be ZQ watching for the alleyway push, but that's a massive choke point if ZQ is able to catch them off guard, but it won't happen. They'll move in. ADRF and one other player from Black Dragons along with Danimal will pick up 3, now 4 consecutive kills. Everybody's joining the party right now, and it'll be Vienna that picks up the last frag as well. Only 1 player lost that time. A swift change up from the Black Dragons finally nets them another round as we do see it close out.
And it almost makes me wonder now if they had started attacking these sides head-on a little bit sooner, maybe the score might have been closer here in the half. And as you can see, they put their attention towards water at the start, and Vienna already takes down ZY with a nice on-pick there on the cross. So definitely a great start for Black Dragons. In one of the first rounds, they've actually got the opening advantage here.
Finally getting a little AWM action into the mix. It's been lacking so far throughout the course of this game, and we'll get to see if Vienna will be able to pick up any more frags from this position here. Certainly was waiting to see if anyone might have crossed out. Nearly actually connected onto his shot too, but AG held back behind the wall at the last second, so they'll have to settle for the 5v4 they currently have rolling at the moment.
Right now, it looks like they are going to go for maybe a late presence here up towards the alleyway. They've got Danimal there waiting, but the mid execution also ready to attack here. We've got Will and ADRF just throwing those flashes out to try and maybe draw out some fire, but AG playing patient as ever here. They know how big a 7-2 half would be for them. That could be all of the difference here. A 6-3 half would make it much more winnable for Black Dragons going into their defensive half, and right now, AG, they're going to be extremely passive here, giving mid control over to Black Dragons.
With AG backing away from that, not wanting to challenge the direct pressure on mid since they've already lost a player early on from the pick and water. They are going to try to round the timer down a little bit more. They've done a good job of that, but at the same time with Black Dragons having the free access to mid, timer trades itself out evenly with the control that Black Dragons do get for themselves. They'll still continue to move forward here. Time just now going into the danger zone as Black Dragons have a minute left to get the C4 onto the ground, neither of these bomb sites. And they're exploring both options, mainly just having one player to the side. It leaves ADF to watch out for a potential push from AG that could come from the B site. But they have that option open as well if they want to try to split away. They've already done this more than once, so it's certainly not too far out to see that happen.
And right now, a lot of pressure on LXM in this choke point here over towards the B bomb site. He has to come up huge. Already a man down as well for AG. He needs at least 2 on this choke point to really hold off the B execution. But Black Dragons, they are running this clock down 20 seconds. They still haven't made their move, but ADRF, the jump around the corner shot there, takes down LXM. Danimal finds one, but gets traded out by TMQ down to a 2v4, but they need to get the plan off. Only 15 seconds here. TMQ already pushing up the alleyway, looking for information. ZQ there to join him as well now, but it's still a 2v4. They're at a huge disadvantage. But AG, they've won so many of these numbers down situations. Black Dragons, they've got to be careful here, but here comes the peak. ZQ trades it, immediately finds 2, but it's not enough, and it'll be a 6-3 half here. Still in favor of all gamers, but Black Dragons starting to claw back a bit here as we close out the half.
And Black Dragons owe a lot of that last round to ADRF. Not only does he find the entry that's crucial for these guys to get them into the site, but holds the line initially against the retake as well. So good stuff from him, picking up massive frags for his team, and overall allowing them to still keep a very respectable scoreline at halftime now before we switch sides.
And right now, Black Dragons, they're really in a much better situation than this match started. They were down 5-0, managed to bring it back to a 6-3 half, and this is really where they have a chance to pull it all the way back, just as we saw Flipside do against Kawhi earlier in the day. This defensive half, if you get that momentum on your side, it is very hard for teams to find a way in and take you out. So really, Black Dragons, it's all about starting this half with a lot of momentum on their side, because AG, if you let them take those early aim duels once again, they could run into those troubles we saw in the first part of that first half. But right now, I think Black Dragons may have the momentum on their side. After those past 4 rounds, they did walk away with 3 of them.
Absolutely, but it still took quite some time for Black Dragons to make up for that. That momentum you were talking about very much was in the favor of AG for the first 5 rounds of this game. Black Dragons struggling to really accomplish anything at all amongst those rounds, as oftentimes they just found themselves caught up in mid. But as we saw, they got over that. They were able to find alternate options, whether it was the push down the alley or a B play, and were able to put 3 rounds on the board. This time it's going to start off well for the Black Dragons as Vienna gets himself the opening pick against TF.
Definitely a nice way to start, applying equal pressure in mid as they had to face on their offensive half. So Black Dragons in a great position with that early pick advantage. Still, AG, a team that knows how to find an opening to try and counter back with, but right now they don't seem too sure where they want to execute here. But Notson, look at that boost spot here. Could be a nice cheeky way to catch them off guard, and you have ADRF as well playing for the support position, just hiding for that initial flash.
It'll still be a little bit of time before we see AG get into a good position to go for the execute. Black Dragons will continue to maintain 4 positions as a result of that. AG, as we can see, watching in case there's a direct push that comes their way from the alley. Really ZQ watching out for that. Probably not going to see much in this position, though, as Black Dragons are still holding back and trying to play more so for mid control and hold on the A site than anything else at this point.
And now AG, they're going to try and send potentially TMQ here over towards water to look for any counter aggression. But Black Dragons, they know exactly what they need to do here. When you have that numbers advantage, patience is key. You don't want to be overzealous and give the enemy team a counter pick to even up the numbers here. So definitely a great job from Black Dragons maintaining their patience here before the attack comes through. AG, though, looking for the mid control here. Notson in the key position here to try and shut things down. Sees ZY going up on the boost there, finds 1, but that's not going to be enough here. TMQ responds back nicely. LXM gets the trade on Vienna as TMQ goes down. It's still a 3-on-2 advantage. AG, though, still yet to execute fully through this mid position.
Black Dragons with 2 players in great position to find potential frags at mid, and there's not even that many players left from AG. Picks up the first, tries to wrap around and finish off LXM, but he's still safely tucked away. Regardless, though, now the last man standing, and he will eventually be picked off. Black Dragons pick up the opening round of the half and will continue to push themselves forward closer to tying this game up now. It's 6-4.
Definitely a tough situation for AG. They started off so confident in this match, but Black Dragons getting the early lead on this global risk half could be their downfall here for AG if they don't find a way to get in faster than Black Dragons did and start piecing together these rounds. Black Dragons, though, again, going for aggressive control plays here. They've got the shotgun in the mix as well, pushing up alley with it, and this could be a huge opportunity, but LXM shuts it down immediately, gets the double kill as well. Vienna falls to the fire. ADRF already very low as well, and things are surely falling apart for Black Dragons here.
ADRF going to be brought out of the fight, do the flash. He will try to jump back in, but it's long gone. AG already establishing positions elsewhere on the map for backing away from this one, but he's able to leap right back in, finds himself another quick pick against ZY to try and even this out a bit more. Black Dragons still very much fighting for the back on this round, however, because of the initial fight taken by AG and the success that came along with it. ADRF's going to back up, play himself behind the forklift. The rest of his team will start to move in as they seem to have an inkling that AG is still going to want to commit towards A. And so far as we can see from the minimap anyway, that appears to be correct, with AG just wanting to run down the clock a little bit more.
Right now, Black Dragons, they've got a huge problem being that only one of their players is really comfortable on the amount of HP they have left. AG with a huge opportunity to just close in and strike on these two players under half HP. Natsun and ADRF both quite low. ZQ, though, pretty low himself here. And AG, they're just going to take mid-control here. But Black Dragons, they've already given that up, and they're just going to be playing safe here. They've got two posted outside of water, just watching for the cross onto B and maintaining most of their control here over towards the A bomb site. But AG, they're still playing methodically, even though they have that numbers advantage, and this is a huge key there because they're not getting too overly aggressive here. They want to fill out the map first and see where these enemies might be playing and try and isolate a pick before they go in.
Time is getting low, however, so AG will need to make a move soon, and we're probably going to see that happen over these next couple of seconds. You can see TMQ starting to check out the A-bomb side. He will commit himself to a push. A nice successful opening kill against Natsun, but he will be traded out. However, that is traded right back by TF as he's able to knock down ADRF, bringing this into a 3v1 for AG. All down to Will now for the side of Black Dragons to try and bring this back under his team's favor. But a 1v3, even with the low HP on the players of AG, it's just not going to work. We see one final kill picked up by the guys on AG, and they will continue to push ahead. Now it's 7-4 in their favor.
Definitely an unfortunate situation there for Black Dragons, but ultimately it came down to that shotgun play at the beginning of the round. They just got a little bit too overly aggressive there. Once you got past that initial choke point, they just pushed a little bit too far in, and they were punished deeply by LXM there, playing in the same position once again, hoping they'll make that mistake 2 times in a row. But Black Dragons, they're definitely going to be playing safer this time around. No aggressive plays and just passive mid-control coming out from them. And definitely a time where they need to put a round on the board. 7-4, AG up by 3, but Black Dragons still a situation where they could bring this back if they start to get momentum back on their side. But LXM definitely bringing the aim game here in the second half so far.
AG, however, for now, will still be stuck at mid-entry along with their first corridors in the alleyway. It does seem they're a lot more keen on pushing towards alleyway, and BD are none the wiser to it. They've thrown zero pressure towards it in this round, and as a result, AG might have a great opportunity to walk right in, really only having to deal with, I think, Danimal further back in the A-bomb site should they try to push out from there.
Danimal definitely the key position here. He's going to get flashed out, though. AG with a big opportunity to sneak him, and it's going to be actually Vienna who goes down first. Danimal not able to see anything, but the rest of his team comes in for the support. ADRF with 2, and Will and Natsun swoop in to clean things up, and that is going to be a brilliant response from Black Dragons. AG surely thought they had that site in their control, but Black Dragons, they just respond so quickly that AG don't know what hit them there.
A great hold from Black Dragons just off the A site to be able to hold off the push from AG. As you mentioned, just a little bit too much going on in that fight, and AG lose control too quickly. So we will keep AG at a 2-round advantage right now as the teams continue to trade back and forth. That 2-round advantage will continue to diminish, however, as the Black Dragons inch closer and closer to tying this back up now from the defensive side, with a chance, of course, to push all the way up to 10 and steal this map out of the hands of AG after it surely seemed like they would cut away with this. Remember, we started at one point with a 5-0 lead for AG, and it's since declined now.
And now Black Dragons, they're going to be playing patient once again. And keep in mind, the only round they've lost so far was the round that they over-aggressed. So they're definitely going to stick to the patient game here until it fails for them. And right now, it's going to be a tough situation, though, for Will. He's going to be spotted, but gets the flash out just in time to sneak away there. But that's a lot of information for AG to work with here. And it looks like they're going to rotate off and just leave TF in the position in case Will decides to get a little impatient there and push through.
Start to move themselves back away from their positions at water, and instead head into what we've been seeing this play out for pretty much the entire game for the most part. We've only really seen 2 or 3 rounds be determined by the play at water. It's primarily been the alley and mid plays that have been the primary battlefield for these rounds. And I think it's going to continue to be that case again if AG decide to commit over these next few seconds.
It looks like they're eager to strike here out through mid. Vienna and ADRF, though, a nice crossfire set up from ramp and the backside of mid. So we'll see if they can hold on to it here. But right now, that smoke screen is going to be a bit difficult to connect through for Vienna. Has to back off here and take a safer approach. But AG, they've already pushed up alley, and they're ready to split out onto this A bomb site. And this is where Black Dragons has to be careful for this pinch to come through. Vienna, though, still hoping someone peeks him through mid. But AG, they still haven't fully committed just yet. They're going to send their players back as well. And they actually look to rotate back into full mid-control. ADRF and Vienna, though, shut it down. Natsun comes in for the support, and so far AG can't find the opening they were hoping for here. ZQ and TMQ, the last 2 alive, trying to fight this one out and pull it back for AG. But with 15 seconds on the clock, there's just no time here. All they have to do is stall. Black Dragons, they have time on their side. TMQ has to force the issue on A. And this is where things could be wrong, but TMQ, what a shot there on the Danimal, has time to just barely get this bomb planted, and now it's a winnable round for AG. Will versus TMQ for a huge round in this matchup. Will, though, has a slight HP advantage here to work with, but TMQ has all the positioning timing in the world to work with. And TMQ, he's going to play safe here, hiding behind the fork with... Wow, Will, actually, sorry, lost my words there. I didn't realize Will was going to sneak down in there, but TMQ, brilliantly done there. A nice 1v1 situation there, but TMQ definitely stepping it up to the plate for his team, and AG, that's not a round they should have been able to win.
Might be a fork whiff, but it's certainly not a whiff on the clutch, that's for sure. As TMQ closes out in dominant fashion and allows for AG to continue pushing ahead at 8-5. Now 2 more rounds, and they take control of the map and the match to push themselves forward and unfortunately send Black Dragons down to the lower bracket.
And right now, Black Dragons, they need to recover this one quickly. Things surely against them in this one, but AG, they want to go for water control once again. They haven't had too much luck getting a lot out of these situations over towards water, but right now, they're going to try and test Will once again in this position. Will, though, generally playing with that counter flash here, doesn't seem too eager to actually challenge these players head on, but he still might be in a position to make some impact here if they push all the way out, and TMQ, he seems pretty aware that Will's going to be playing in this position once again. We'll see if he's able to make some good use out of it, but right now, AG, they're just going to be taking their time and hoping that someone on Black Dragons makes their impatience known.
So, AG, knowing they have to deal with Will in the corner, despite that, have not really had the courage to try and push themselves out. In the meanwhile, though, Black Dragons has made a big push in their own regard, going all the way back down through mid towards the entry. They do manage to catch out ZQ, who was lurking over here inside of the alleyway. But now the push comes in from water. It's a bit of a mixed affair, though. ZY finding most of the impact. TF puts 2 together, and we're down into a 1 versus 1 again. It's TF versus Nutson to determine this round, and it could very well put AG on map and match point. He's going to back away. This makes the situation a little bit. Unfortunately, he's got the C4 on the ground, so he is going to have to move back in to retrieve that if he wants to try and take this towards a plant. But he's very well aware that Nutson could have eyes on that. So he's going to try his best to not give himself away to that position so soon. He'll wait down the clock. Time is getting a little bit low, though, so he will be forced into making a move soon. He's found his chance. We'll move forward. The C4 has been successfully retrieved, and will fall directly back to try and take this over towards the B site. No, he goes for the fight instead, and a headshot will knock out his opponent.
And that could be just enough to take AG all the way in this one. 9-5. They have match point on the table here. 4 opportunities to close out this map, and surely they should be able to do it at this point. And AG, you can see the momentum in their eyes here, pushing through into mid, but it's not going to be anything going their way. Black Dragons, they immediately shut it down. ZQ and TMQ already the last 2 alive, but Black Dragons, they've lost quite a few numbers down situations here, so they still need to be careful in this 2-on-3, but TMQ, he's already found 1, and things are already evened up from what looked like a good situation for Black Dragons there.
TMQ a solid hold indeed from the outside of water. And now ZQ going to try his best to help out with this as well. They've brought it down to an even fight. The 2 of them are also looking to try and regroup if they can. They've got a free path over towards the B site, and they're going to go directly for a plant. C4 is going to get itself down to the ground. Not much contention coming in at all from the Black Dragon side. They're looking to reposition, and that includes moving Yana over to a different position to try and push himself back in. It's looking like Danimal's going to try to take a more direct route, however, working his way through his team spawn and into the B site. Giving AG plenty of time to get into post-plant positions. That's really the only thing they're going to have to worry about here. Not only that, but the guys on Vienna are not going to have the best access towards nades. They got 1 additional smoke to use. ZQ, here's the flight coming in from the corridors, though, or gets the info from his teammate, and with TMQ picking up the last kill, that'll settle it. It's AG, ladies and gentlemen, that will take control of the matchup.
Definitely a huge win there for AG. Not quite what we expected here, but AG, their aim duels were incredibly impressive here, and their ability to control mid on both halves was just ultimately what won them this game here. Black Dragons just couldn't find the openings they needed, and ultimately at the end of the day, I think they're really going to have to rethink their strategies if they want to have a stronger performance in the future.
Well, it's all gamers going to go up against Execration in that upper bracket final. And gents, I don't want to say that I'm the #1 CROSSFIRE analyst, but look, I'm going to go ahead and say, look, I think we can all agree that Black Dragon seemed to find, once they got going, once they got past that initial hurdle, it did seem they found themselves in advantageous positions time and time again. But I think we can all agree that it was those aim battles, right? Even when all gamers were down on numbers, their individual skill, their talent, it brought them back time and time again.
the clutch capability on either side seemed actually relatively even, in my opinion, when we look at the two teams. I do think Black Dragons had a slight edge when we got into the late game. The biggest problem, though, was the blacklist start that we saw from Black Dragons. It took them so long to find any impact, and they were just continuously throwing their heads at the wall at that mid play, and it was never working out. 5 rounds in a row picked up by the Chinese team before we saw even one going up onto the board for the Brazilians, and that unfortunately became their downfall. Look at the score at the end of the day. They lose by about 5 or 6 rounds. Those 5 or 6 rounds they lost at the beginning could have been what made the difference, or at very minimum took the game the distance to potentially overtime.
Yeah, it definitely put them in a difficult situation going through, but a 10-5 going down, that was whatever result I thought we would see here. I didn't think we were going to see a 10-5.
Definitely not, and I think it came down to, it wasn't that Black Dragons was playing poorly. AG just played on a whole new level from what I expected from them. All of them were hitting the shots they needed to. They were converting a lot of number down situations that I wouldn't have expected them to come out on top of. And at the end of the day, if you can win those number down situations most of the time, you're going to be looking really confident going into your next matches.
Yeah, absolutely, and they will be going up against Execration from the Philippines. And going into that matchup now, I have quite a bit of confidence in this AG lineup.
Yeah, me too. I mean, the fragging potential that we were seeing, it comes down to the clutch capability too. It was very even across the board, but if they can carry that through into their next matchup, they're truly going to be the force to be reckoned with that they should have been expected to be coming into this event.
What about Black Dragons now? They're going to go down, they're going to play against Ava Team. How do we think that matchup's going to go a little bit later on?
I think it's really going to be a situation where Ava Team's the team that needs to recover, I think, a bit more after their first match. They just had a lot of simple mistakes that led to their downfall, and at the end of the day, I think Black Dragons has the advantage there, but either team could really come out with it.
Well, guys and girls, we have just one regular group stage game to kick things off before we go into the upper bracket games. It's INTZ up against Pacific Warrior right after this.
December 2018, CROSSFIRE Stars begins a new fight. CFS 2018 will gather 24 top teams from 11 regions around the world in Taichung and Nanjing, China for Project S. December 4th to 6th, the group stage matches, the tournament stage quarterfinals, and semifinals will take place in Taichung. December the 8th, event matches for CROSSFIRE HD featuring top teams will be awaiting in Nanjing. December the 9th, the CROSSFIRE Legends tournament along with the CROSSFIRE final matches will determine the CFS 2018 World Champions. Guns are locked and loaded, and players are ready for an intense clash. CROSSFIRE Stars 2018.